All right, we're up.
All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the February Board of Directors meeting for the Continuing Committee. I'm Brian Schaeflein, current chair and director of operations. We have Maggie Geppert, executive officer. We've got Charlie Plain. I'm having difficulty speaking. Charlie Plain, director of First Edition. TJ Ott, director of Second Edition. Scott Bowman, director of communications. Chris Sonsonby, director of organized play, and Justin Ford, the chief financial officer. First thing up is approval of minutes from the last meeting. Anyone have any issues with those?
I didn't see anything. So I'll move to approve.
Second.
All right. Anyone opposed to approving the minutes? All right, then we consider the minutes approved. On to department reports. Maggie, I don't know if you want to throw all the period of use stuff into this or wait till later, but
we can do it at the appointed time on the agenda. That's fine. So what I can say is that I have that was the thing that took up most of my work so in the past month since the last board meeting. Also, the frequently asked questions has now been updated. Thank you to operations for getting those up and running. So everybody who, anybody who's watching this wants to take a look at the FAQ, I don't know why, it doesn't seem like this is completely obvious to people when you come to the main site, probably because there's a lot of stuff there. In the center of the screen, when you open up the main page where it says new or returning to the game, ? Beam in here, that is where you get to the FAQ. So you can check that out. It is now set up as drop-down menus for the questions instead of just a big wall of text. So thank you to Brian and the rest of the programming team for getting that up and running. If you see other things that you think need to go on the FAQ, please go ahead and shoot me a PM, and I will put those things in there. Or if you see something that is inaccurate, I would also happily take any comments on that. But that was the big thing. Now I'm moving towards my next goal is small videos on for YouTube, short videos on features of our site. So things like, how do you use the deck builder? How do you print cards? How do you use the virtual pack creator? How do you set up a tournament? So that had started in my brain as one longer video, but I think that it needs to be in 2-minute chunks kind of thing. So that's what I've been working on. I mean, besides playing games and following the forums and all that fun stuff.
Okay, Charlie, First Edition.
Sorry, I'm having technical challenges because I am not awake. Also, I am dead. So yeah, the big news in World of 1E is the long-term plan was published. During the period of review, came out later than I wanted, but it came out, and it's a lot. So I don't know how many people have had the chance to watch the video or read through the document, but if you're at all curious about what we're thinking about where the game is and where the game is going, it's worth at least spending the 37 minutes to watch the video, if not reading through the plan. You can find everything at trekcc.org/1e/long-term-plan/. It's got a link to the document itself. You can read and comment on it. You can print it out. You can watch the video. A huge shout out to Alan Gould, and his kiddo for putting the video together for me and captioning it. Yeah, so we're still collecting feedback on the long-term plan. Mostly everybody seems to have a few questions here and there, but they seem to be on board with what the plan says, which is good. We'll still be collecting feedback probably until the next board meeting, and then we will, make the changes that have been proposed, and then, officially publish it, and it'll sort of be our blueprint for the next few years. Outside of that, Project Storm is moving towards release. It should be out in March. Johnny's been sending me emails asking questions as he sets up the cards, which is great. And we should be spoiling a bunch of information about that soon. It's got a title now. The release promo is done. There's actually 3 release promos, kinda. I'll give you a clue there. We're working on Project Quarantine with testing, which is a Q boutique, and it's gone pretty well so far. And Project Rogue will be coming up next after that, which is the first movie set. And we're starting to put some things in place for the 30th anniversary in 2024, which doesn't seem like a real number, doesn't seem like a real year, but this is a big anniversary, and we don't want to get caught off guard and miss something. So we got some plans going on that. We're working on beginner content, and we're starting the process of creating the YouTube videos for first edition. And I think the big thing that's going to be happening next is a bunch of recruiting, because we just need some more volunteers in a couple different places. So stay tuned for all that. And briefly talk about Tribbles. Oh, yeah. There will be a bunch of 1E errata on the first, and we'll be going into that. It's nothing big. It's clarification errata, and there will be 2 Tribbles errata also on the first, because a couple of the powers in the most recent set have proven to be more obnoxious than intended, and we are dialing those back, and we'll see how that goes. So. And I think we're going to try something different this year for Tribbles. Instead of releasing a set, we're going to try something a little different, but I think you guys will like it. So that's all I've got to say on that.
All right, TJ, second edition.
Yeah, second edition. At the moment, we have Project Connor, the next set, showing up after Charlie's set. So it will be March or April, is in the final stage of playtesting. So we will have 1 or 2 rounds of playtesting. And Creative is working on the set already. And when we have nearly final option, final cards, it will go to rules. So I'm very confident that will show up early in April or after Charlie's set is released. The next set is Project Diana. Project Diana is going to playtesting as soon as possible. I think it will go to playtesting at the beginning of March. So within the next 2 weeks, maybe the next 4 weeks. So it is in a good stage. I had a look of it. Then the next set will be the community set. We are working on that. That will take a little bit more time than I expected. Yeah, I took some time to watch Charlie's video. I haven't seen it the full 37 minutes. But I think TUI needs a long-term plan as well. So I'm working on that, and like every good worker does, absorb what is useful. So I try to assimilate what I can use from Charlie's ideas. No, I'm working on that, but it's on a very early stage. Also planned is to figure out how the second edition sets will be show up, not the next sets, but the continuing sets, figure out the percentage of themed and set cards for everyone. So I try to figure out what the best percentage to make it run. Another thing I like to do is to address the community, where they see what affiliations we should have a look at, what are the powerful affiliations, especially have a look at sub-affiliations and cards we can incorporate in upcoming set. It will be not the next sets, but it will definitely show up within the year. That is the plan. So I'm working on a kind of poll with Ross to address the community, and I just figure out what the best way, if I want it back in writings or have a way to do it by software, something like that. Yeah, another good thing is that Scott and me take a little look at Hall of Fame. And at the moment, he hosted an article with me. This article was gave to me by Brian Sykes and John Corbett about Hall of Fame format. And I made myself a little bit familiar with that format. And at the moment, Brian Sykes is running Hall of Fame under his own agenda. He just keeps me informed if it is necessary, and it's running very well. So I'm happy he's doing that job as a kind of freelancer. Yeah, that's all at the moment.
Okay, Scott, you there?
I am here, yes.
All right, how about communications?
We haven't had a whole lot happen since our last meeting. TJ just mentioned that we had a really good collaborative article with myself and him and Brian Sykes and various others. And so I was really happy to see everybody communicating well with each other to work on that Hall of Fame article. And I think it's great that we're going to keep supporting that format and support it even more in the future. And then also, the period of review is one of our biggest communications with the community each year. And so I just want to say thanks to everybody who participated, both on the administrative side and then also all those who took the time to vote, because that's a big way for all of us to communicate with each other. And I think it went well. So good work, everybody.
All right, let's see. I'm next with ops. I don't think a whole lot big has happened since last month. I know that Rogue and Marcus have been working on adding in more achievements, fixed some that were broken that caused the rest not to work either. So the new one should be working now. We do have to get more of a new system in place for the new, I guess, achievement program that they're working on. I don't have a timeline for that yet. What else is happening? I have had some talks with some folks on European shipping, so this coming month, I'm hoping we can move that forward. I don't know that there's much else news since last month, so that's where we are right now. Chris, organized play?
Yeah, similar to everyone else, pretty quiet in the organized play world. We had about a half a dozen tournaments between local in-person events and another handful of online events that we're kind of wrapping up over the last month or so. If you're in a league, you should probably be either in your second half or working through your playoffs right now. So league season's kind of winding down. And, then obviously the next step is regionals. We totally are aware that, COVID's going to continue to impact availability for people to play in regionals, but we did get the regional article up so people can start applying as they see fit. And we internally made the decision right away to just extend it through September. So it's not going to be just April through June this year. It'll be April through September. so that people can get together and play when they feel comfortable. Or, you know, as I've already talked to some TDs out there, they're going to just put their event online again this year. You know, take a regional and put it online for their local players at the local time and see how that works. So other things, organized play guide is in process. I put up an article or a discussion thread just to remind me and the team of things over the last year and a half that have popped up that we need to revise, because you know, you kind of catch them all at once ideally, and then it should be the document should be good to go for the next year. But yeah, I mean, obviously the main thing is just keep playing when you can. Kitchen table games, I know you're doing achievements for that soon, and in tournaments online, in person, even if it's as simple as grabbing a friend and just playing, you know, a casual game online. That's the main thing, is just keep playing.
Okay. Justin, finance. You are muted, bud.
There we go. Yeah, like everybody else, it's been a pretty quiet month. Been busy getting all of my templates and tracking stuff moved over from good old Apple program back to Microsoft, since I did get a new Office computer. So I've been busy moving it over back into Excel, because I tell you, the Apple version of Excel is good, but it's painful. So I've been busy really just getting that moved over and everything and whatnot. So look for updates and statements will be coming here in the next month, as promised. We'll get those, keeping those on track. So those will be coming out. And yeah, not much going on, which is good. It's always good to be quiet in this world.
Okay, that's all the department reports. So over to some old business. We have principal promos, which we pushed back a couple times. Charlie, I believe those are on track for the beginning of the month, right?
Yeah. There's I want to say 7 or 8 1E and 2E promos and 4 or 5 Tribbles promos. The thing that isn't happening is going back through the backlog and finding everything that still needs to be caught up. Just I had to pick and choose, and I didn't want to delay things again for that. And I know there was Harry, I can't remember his screen name, Harry 696 or 898 or something like that, posted a bunch of like, these still have the promo text on them, and he's like, even he admitted this is not a high priority. So my plan is, whenever the next update is going to be, either July or whatever we decide, to have all of that caught up. So as of that date, we will have everything, and that's also going to include going back through the errata and matching the old virtual promos that didn't get the errata to get them the new errata. So we'll aim to have that all done for the next printable update. But the stuff that was due to be printable in January is all scheduled to be printable on March 1st. It's almost all done.
And the only other thing, I guess, is we're all in agreement that we're going to shift the schedule then to March and, is that October?
March and September. It'd be
March and
6 months
September.
later, right? No, September. March and September. So I think we should. I think it'll just make things easier. It's not as nice calendar-wise, but I think it'll make it easier for us to not miss dates, I think.
Yeah. Anybody see any reason why that should not change? Like, I don't think we need an actual like formal vote on it. I'm just seeing if there's any reason.
I don't see any reason to not push it back.
Makes sense. It gives people more time around the holidays. That's the time where, we're busy with family and stuff.
Yeah, especially if you're just, sometime between now and September, you get caught up, Charlie. I don't think it'd be a big deal to just have.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's officially do that. I don't think it's written in the bylaws, so I don't think we have to like vote on it. I just think we need to advertise. I'll make sure the article with the printable promos explains that.
Mhm.
And, we'll be good. So.
Okay then. Next bit is the period of review. Maggie, you want to go into that?
Sure. So first off, congratulations to everybody here for being retained. This is the first time that since we've been doing this vote that we have had a full slate of 7 board members. So huzzah there. Yay, full staffing. And let's see. So we were all retained. We were all retained with pretty healthy majorities. You know, I can if we had so the stats broken down. We had 169 email voters sent. So now again, we did call, so that's smaller than last year, but we did call quite a few of our people who were receiving who were receiving premium memberships or were counted on the volunteer roles. But I think there's still a few folks who have not been doing like any playtesting work for years and years and years, but are still on the playtesting roles that could be who could be removed from those areas. So so we had 169 voters, which was smaller than last year. We had 100 people open the emails. We had 80 people who visited and 78 who voted. So that's that's about where we were last year in terms of percentages of percentages of people who opened the emails, percentages who voted, and percentages. Yeah. So everything was, we had a few, it was basically like we had a slightly higher percentage of people who voted versus how many voters we had, and then slightly less people who voted who opened the emails. So, but basically on par with last year. Any questions? Anything anybody wants to see?
Just thank you to everybody that did vote.
Oh, yes, of course. Of course. Thank you to everybody who voted. Ross did ask a question in Discord. He wanted to know, was there an increase in memberships due to the period of review? I noticed we had a few people buying year-long premium memberships in the run-up to the period of review. And the people that I saw doing that were the new players that we've been attracting lately to some of the online play. So that's but it wasn't that many, maybe 4 or 5 people altogether. So I don't think we had a huge influx of people coming in specifically to do the period of review. I think it was more like, oh, hey, I'm new and I get a premium membership and I get to do this thing.
Yeah, I didn't see a slew of 1 month premium memberships coming through since they come through my email when I see them. So I didn't. In years past, emails had a lot more activity, but this year we didn't see that many 1 months coming in.
Do we still need to? This isn't really relevant to the period of review directly, but do we still need to like work on and find some more different perks for the premium membership? Like I recall we got rid of the premium deck builder and just sort of made that the default deck builder. But is there more that we need to?
The deck builders, I think, are still premium. It's the lackey import and export that we shifted to free.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we still, the premium deck builder is still behind the paywall. But yeah, more benefits are good for premium membership. Certainly, if people have ideas for that. I personally am in love with the ignore a thread or ignore a forum feature that is now behind the paywall in forums. I think that's pretty awesome. So that's a nice perk. But if other people have ideas for things perks you can get for premium membership, we're always interested in those, because I think it would be nice eventually if we could come up with enough good things. If we could come up with enough good things that we could make the premium deck builder the default, I think that would be nice. But
I would like to get, if we could get our warehousing and shipping situation under control, I'd really like to bring back the birthday club and commit to like changing the card every 2 years or so. So I think that'd be fun. We used to do a thing where you got I think it was Surprise Party, where you got a card for free just mailed to you on your birthday if you were a premium member. And I would really like to bring that back as a perk. So.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, that's there's an article for if people want to read it. If you have more questions, you can PM me or hit me up on Discord or whatever. But yeah, congratulations to everyone for being retained.
All right. Let's see. We got new business next. The first thing is an amendment to the bylaws. This is a fairly straightforward change. We're going to change the requirements for reinstatement of members that were that had their membership terminated by the board. We're going to change that from requiring a unanimous vote of the board of directors to just a simple majority vote. Because in effect, it is the same. The board has the ability to, as we're about to do, amend the bylaws to make it a majority if the majority agrees. So there's no point in having in writing that a unanimous consent needs to happen to do that. So we're going to put that as a majority, just amending 3.10.3 of the bylaws, changing the word unanimous to majority. Anybody want to discuss that at all?
Oh, I would move to approve that change.
Oh, it's second.
Yes, me too.
Great. Makes sense.
It just shouldn't be harder to bring somebody in. It shouldn't be as hard or harder to bring somebody in as it is to. It should be hard to remove somebody. It should not be that hard to forgive somebody.
Plus, requiring unanimous consent on anything is super unwieldy.
Well, I don't mind it as being the requirement to basically permaban somebody, because it should be a weighty decision it has weighty consequences. But to require that level of agreement to return somebody, it doesn't sit well with me. So I would like to see it change.
All right. Are there any objections to that amendment? All right. Then we will consider the amendment passed. I will get the bylaws changed right after the meeting is over to reflect that. All right, what do we got next? I have on the agenda plan for further website upgrades. Charlie asked for this to be put on there, and it's probably a good idea. So I'll talk a little bit about all right, so I have on my list, I have 5, I would call them high priority or major projects that need, or I would like to see all of them done. So one is the reward system, where all the players, all the volunteers, everybody can earn rewards points towards stuff. Rather than go into details about each of these, I'll just list them off. Another is additional themes for the forum, such as a dark theme. That's probably self-explanatory. Some site reorganization and update. So that would be like a project that has been on and off worked on for 5 years, maybe. We would like to get the entire front end of the site, not the so there's the forum and then there's the rest of the site. This would be the rest of the site. So we want to get that reorganized to make navigation more user friendly and update the code on it. Let's see. Another one is an API for essentially the data that we have for the site, cards and whatnot. This will serve to benefit not just our own internal programming team, but also, people are always asking, how can I hook into the CC's like card data so I can make, say, an app for the phone or something like that. That's how I started down this path of working in the CC. Was I asked for the same thing. So yes, that's something I would like to get done. We have some baby steps done so far, but we're still working on that. And there's a need for an expanded achievement system, which is part of Rogue's new plan for like kitchen table achievements, but also I think the whole achievement system could be more user friendly. So that's there too. And then there's a couple there's many other smaller projects. Like I think I have one kind of on the back burner that's updating the tournament system so that the times are localized. That's a small goal. I'd also like to modernize the deck builders so that they're not just kind of plain text boxes and whatnot, but some actual functionality you see in like the Magic card community, that would be a major project, but that is like a long-term project. So I put that, separate from major ones. There's plenty of other little things that need to be done too. So it's not a plan so much it is, here are my top priorities and these are the things that we're working on going towards. Anyone have any questions? I know Charlie, you wanted this brought up, so I'll go to you first.
I'm just curious about like one of the things we're working on the 1E side right now is like more beginner content, and I'm just wondering where like if I wanted to rearrange sort of how the 1E directory is set up. Like I understand why when you go to trekcc.org/1E it's the card list. But I don't necessarily think that's the most logical thing to be there anymore. Like I'd like to see it be like some text and some explanations, and then like
I agree. There should be like a front page for the game.
Right. So I guess my question is, when I'm working on that content, how does rearranging that section fall into our plans and our timeline? Like, is it something that we can do now on the current template, or is it something that we need to wait for the new template to do, or is it a combination? Like that's where I was asking, and I'm sorry, I didn't mean to like put you on the spot with all this.
No, that's fine. I think if you want to move forward with that, we'll just make it work. Like if you want to find a place in the current like navigational structure of the site to put that, we'll do it. And then it'll just kind of have to be transformed with the rest of it when we finalize whatever that new site structure is,
I mean, my personal preference for our landing site, as I look at it right now, is there's so much stuff on here. There's so much stuff on here. I would really rather see it as a landing page of, big bold letters, hey, new people, come here. And then if you know where you want to go, if you want to look at second edition, here's all the here's your link to second edition, here's your link to first edition, here's your link to Tribbles, and go and to have like a very simple landing page, and then you can go from there. Now I know that that's going to send half of the old grognards screaming because they're like, but I understand how to navigate the front page. I know that I want to click on my I know that I need to click on the Infinite Diversity Remastered icon to go find the virtual pack creator and stuff like that. And I know we're going to get some people who are upset if we change the look of the homepage.
Are you saying humans are opposed to change? Get out of here. That can't be true.
Yeah, I'm sure there's some political jokes in there I won't make right now. But yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying, Scott, is that people are old and grumpy.
And we're only getting older and grumpier.
Yes, we are only getting older and grumpier, and you can stay off my lawn. Thank you very much. So yes, that so that's that. I would like to see a simpler landing page when you get here, but I know that that's going to cause upheaval as well.
So I'll say this: the structure of the site will eventually change. People are going to complain about it because that's what people do. It's going to change anyway. Sorry, everyone. Sorry, not sorry, I guess. It's going to eventually change. You're going to have to deal with it. And that's a terrible thing to say, but that's just the way it's going to end up being. Because it doesn't function the way the internet functions anymore. Like this was 10 years ago and it was fine. That's the way it works. It works. That's okay, but it can work better for the majority of people. So we're going to try to go towards that.
I mean, the other thing to remember is like when the CC started, we just did TUI, right? So there wasn't a column on the left and a column on the right, and then Tribbles at the bottom. It all just it was made to support one thing, and then we over time added more and didn't update the design at the times we did that. So I mean, again, no shade thrown here. Just there's history there to consider about why things are the way they are. So.
Yep. Anything else on that for now? All right. So the next thing is to nominate the new chair of the board. It will no longer be me. My term is over. So who would like to nominate someone to be the chair? Don't everyone speak at once.
I will nominate Charlie Plain to be chair for the next year. And may I make a statement here, just reminding all of our viewers that the chair's job is to run this meeting and set the agenda.
That's basically the majority of the task, is to make the agendas, schedule the meetings, but also as the chair, I guess you're kind of, the bylaws are set up in a way that your job is kind of to be nosy for the entire organization. You're able to essentially see all of the different committees and teams and the work that they're doing, and you're allowed to vote in almost every committee. Usually the chair doesn't, because that is just a lot, but that is kind of the ability in place for the chairs to, and part of that is to make sure that you can set a cohesive agenda, because you need to be able to keep track and actually have some knowledge of what's going on in the organization as a whole. So yeah, that's what the chair is for. So anyway, is there a second for Charlie Plain as chair?
I would second the nomination, obviously noting all of that. Like, previously in this organization, chair had a much higher title and job responsibility. Now with the 7 of us on the board, it's not nearly as strenuous, I hope. And if so, I apologize to Charlie. I'll buy him a beer the next time I see him.
All right. Is there any other, would anyone like to nominate anyone else as chair? All right, so we have one vote for Charlie Plain as chair of the board for the next year. We'll go down the line. Maggie, how do you vote?
Aye.
TJ, how do you vote?
Yes.
Chris, how do you vote?
Aye.
Justin, how do you vote?
Aye.
Charlie, I'm going to give you a chance to object to your nomination.
I reluctantly abstain.
Okay. Scott, how do
I'm
you
the
vote?
chair and the board member. That's what we get to play right now.
I vote yes.
All right, and my vote doesn't matter, but I vote yes as well. So Charlie is now the chair of the board, and so I get to shut up and let him close this meeting. Although there's a period review, just looking at the agenda, or not period review, there'd be public comment period if there's anything going.
I actually had one last item that I was looking back at the board thread, and Brian Sykes, Armis on the board, said in his, he's curious whether anyone has any thoughts or takeaways of the results, the goals for upcoming year and specific initiatives, etc. So some of us have touched on this, but I think not formally. So could we go around and so that was part of, that was a request to do a post game of the period of review, and I missed that until just now. So could we like just go around and say anything, if we have any goals for this particular year?
What was his comment, Maggie, again?
Basically, Brian wants to know, do we have any goals for the upcoming year that we want to, things we want to accomplish? And I think, I think Charlie and Tjark in their monthly reports specifically addressed that. I didn't say specifically say what goals I had for this year. But if anyone wants to comment on that before we close out the meeting, I would appreciate the time.
Yeah, I can.
Since it was a question that was directly asked about the period of review.
I certainly can. I think I have an answer for that. I mean, for me, for post game, I just appreciate the continued faith in my ability to do the director of organized play job. Obviously, last year sucked for everybody. We had to cancel a lot of events, and we're trying to figure out as a team how to go forward and still be safe and still get our events in. Honestly, I've had several private conversations, and myself and everybody on the organized play team, they hate not running events as much as you hate not attending events. It's definitely, even some of us on this call also love running events, and that just wasn't possible last year. So we're trying to work forward, get those updates done, obviously acknowledge all the buys that are being acquired over the last 2 years for regionals, and get people back playing to whatever in the new normal is. We currently, like I said, internally have regional season extended for another 3 months. We're going to be looking at doing continentals and worlds towards the end of the summer and fall, because we just need to keep buying time for the vaccine to get out into the public. So again, our main goal is to keep people playing, whether that's playing with us in tournaments, kitchen table games, whatever. Just, our goal number one is to put out those documents and get people back into high level tournaments.
Yeah. My personal goal for this year is to dig in as much as I can to this my job description that says that I work on these initiatives to recruit and retain players. And I've spent the last year doing basically content gathering. What do we have? When I've had time to work on that, what do we have, and thinking about what do we need. And then, now starting to think forwards to what are our next steps. So I know Charlie's working pretty heavily on that in first edition. We've got some second edition stuff, content for new players that's been generated, and more that's coming. So I want to help be more strategic with those. What do we do with this content once we get it once it's been generated. So that's what I want to be looking forward to for this year. And especially because we've seen a real uptick in new players and people returning to the game, because, they've been stuck in their houses and found their cards and they're like, oh yeah, I remember this game. This was a lot of fun. And then they've come and found us. I mean, we need to really jump on that. So that's my goal for the upcoming year.
Yeah, in a very similar way to what Chris and Maggie had just said, with regard to game stores reopening and people gathering in person again, which I hope happens as soon as is safe, I really want to lean into the ambassador section of my job and hopefully deal with our director of ambassadors and help them to get back into in-person promoting of the game and in promoting gatherings in local areas. I think that's something that really worked well in the past, and we need to beef that up again some. So that's one of my goals for the upcoming year. And also, I want to echo what everyone said. Thanks for voting to retain me, since I was the rookie, as it were.
For me, it's getting shipping working. That's my biggest priority for this year. And then there's all the website stuff.
Justin, any goals?
I think pretty much. It's what we had said on the period of review. What occurred in 2020 and sort of what caused some of the backlog. To continue to stay to be a lot better at definitely responding to the emails and whatnot. And standing up on the communications. 2020 was a crazy year. Obviously, that wasn't the excuse. Because obviously, need to stay up on communications. So that's really the main goal: just stay up on the communications that come through and whatnot.
I think that's pretty much everybody then. So we don't have any public comments. Charlie, I'll let you take over, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, I will move to, I would like to, sorry, I'm not good at this. Would anyone like to move to adjourn this meeting?
I'll move.
Would anyone like to second?
Sure.
Second.
Let the record show we have a motion from Brian and a second from Chris. Anyone opposed to adjourning the meeting? Okay, this meeting is adjourned. One programming note is there has been some discussion about the bylaws require us to have a meeting every 60 days. And we have been going about once a month. We are considering going to a little longer period between meetings, especially since this one was a lot of not much has changed. So don't be surprised if there isn't a board meeting in March, but we have one in April instead. I'm not saying that's for sure. It's just something we're considering. So with that said, I will we'll adjourn this meeting. So thank you for watching live or later, and let us know if you have any questions or comments on what you've heard today. We'll see you